Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm going to talk today about racism in Cuba, and Fidel Castro was racist. He was not a champion of the civil rights movement, and he should not be remembered as such. And unfortunately, there's a lot of, I'm not going to even say the majority, I'm not going to even say most, but unfortunately there is an extremely significant portion of the African-American population that believes that Castro is a champion of civil rights, a hero to black Cubans, and a champion of racial equality. Now, that is not the case. Now, when Castro came to power in the Cuban Revolution, yes, he did give blacks free education and free health care. But there's a lot more to it than that. That's what a lot of African-American leaders like Jesse Jackson, who praised Castro, mentioned. But there's a lot more to it than that, okay? Let me explain, okay? As I've said before, blacks make up 11% of Cuba's population, but the majority of Cuba's population is biracial. That's the majority of Cuba's population. However, you go to the University of Havana, Cuba's prestigious university, 80% of the professors are white. Also, in the world of science and technology, 73% of scientists and technicians are white. And that's under the Castro government. That's under that was under Fidel's government, and that is under Raul's government. Also, blacks compose of nearly 60% of Cuba's prisoners. Also, the black and biracial Cubans, they are known as Cubans with characteristics, or citizens with characteristics. That's what the census cards say. And that's just wrong. And then if you see an interracial group together, black Cubans, biracial Cubans, and white Cubans, the first person that they're going to ask the ID from is the black Cuban, then the biracial Cuban. Eventually, they may ask the white Cuban their ID, but they'll definitely ask the black and biracial Cubans' ID card first. Also, cab drivers favor white Cubans over black Cubans because cab drivers know that white Cubans have more money. And I'm not saying racism is not a problem in America, okay? But Cuba is not a model for racial equality, okay? Castro's Cuba is not a model for racial equality, and Castro was extremely racist, and his brother Raul is extremely racist. Okay, there's an African-American website called The Root, and one of the writers from The Root went down to Cuba, and he met with the a black Cuban activist, Roberto Zurbano, and he talked about how when he went to hotels, and he told Zurbano this, when the writer went to hotels and he went to airports, he did not see any black Cubans. None, even though he knew blacks made up 11% of Cuba's population. Also, a YouTube channel called Freedom Collection interviewed 2 black Cuban females, and one of them, her brother got sentenced to prison for 17 years. 17 years for really doing nothing, and when he was in prison, he got, some of his body parts got bitten off by a dog. You know, that's what a lot of what the Cubans, what Castro's government said the Spaniards did to Cubans during colonial rule. Well, the Cuban guards did the same thing to black prisoners. The Castro's guards, and also what a lot of the Castro Cuban police would call black Cubans, they would call black Cubans King Kong or Black Pig. That's very common. And so, yeah, Castro was racist. And those are the statistics for you. Really since the revolution, the only place that blacks have made a stride has been in baseball. But at the same time, you saw that prominent black Cuban pitcher Livan Hernandez defected, and he defected because the government kept saying they would get him a new TV, they would get him a new TV that will provide the basic necessities, but the new TV never came, and they never came to fix his old TV. So Livan Hernandez defected on broken promises, and he was a professional baseball player. His brother Orlando El Duque Hernandez, he defected because he was basically accused of a bogus crime. That was a Trump charge. And so he defected on Christmas Day. That's Fidel for you. So anyways, there was more statistics there, and Al Jazeera did an article as well of racial inequality in Cuba, and the Al Jazeera pointed out many of the same things, that the website The Root pointed out. So, anyways, Castro was not a champion of civil rights. He was extremely racist, violently racist. There, in the state council in Cuba, there's almost no black Cubans. In the high positions of the Communist Party, there's almost no black Cubans. You go to the tourist town of Veradero, Cuba. I saw this on a YouTube video of people who were allowed legally to study abroad in Cuba. You go to Veradero, and there's tourist staff workers that will dress up as black Cubans, but in a the costume design is extremely racist and extremely stereotypical. And I've said before, there's almost no black Cubans that work the tourist industry. And also point out with the biracial Cubans, the ones whose skin is light enough to be considered white, the first thing they do is straighten their hair out so they won't be suspected as being biracial, so they can get the better jobs. Sad state of affairs. Anyway, hope everybody's doing well. Take care. God bless them. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.